populate it with what we're getting from the AST while we traverse it. This is what it looks like. This here. So what we're doing is we're going to iterate through, while we're walking through the tree, visiting the tree nodes, and going to find anything that is a node definition, a scan def, or a token def, or a check def. And we're going to get this stuff out of here as much as we can, mine as much as we can out of it, and go from there. I'm thinking that we're going to go ahead. Yes, can I help you? What, do you have a question?
No, I was just going to say that I ordered ink because one packet of ink because we couldn't find it.
That's a good idea.
The knockoff ink.
Mm-hmm.
I had it delivered to the locker at our storage unit.
Woohoo!
Yeah, there.
So you can just walk right there.
That way if it comes out, because it's supposed to come on Sunday,
Yeah.
I don't have to go to Davidson. I don't have to deal with picking it up behind the counter at our P.O. box.
I don't want people to know what city we're in.
Well, anyway, I was thinking it was great. It would be great for you to do that.
Yeah, have things delivered right there. Yeah.
We're super close.
Henry checking in. How's it going? How's it going, Henry? Just show the Twitch chat. Program called WEE chat. It's on it's on rwx.rob.live. You can go there and click on the FAQ if you want to know. So this is what the JSON looks like that I'm creating this definitions table. And the definitions table is something we need to be able to iterate through so we can do the code generation, among other things, so we can do real-time evaluation as well. And so yeah. By the way, Gavinok, I plan on replacing that eventually with a tool called, well, I don't know, I'm going to have to build it. It's going to be a command line thing. I'm going to use the WebSockets API from Restream. So I'm really hopeful that that'll work. I haven't practiced with that at all. I want to get this done because GopherCon's coming up November 8th, and I will be possibly in the hallway doing stuff like that. All right, so what do we got? I mean, I just think it would be great to just have a Restream API that I could then, just have a command that sends a chat to it, and then I could just have it just stream all of the stuff to the command line. Wouldn't that be great? I should put that in my wish list really quick. Let me put that in my wish list. I think I have it in the wishes already. Let me check. This is how I know to work on stuff. There it is. Restream command line tool with chat. I really need to finish Restream API command integration. I'm hopeful that WebSockets API provides what is necessary to replace WeChat Tmux pane on my live stream. Please someone do it for me. So I don't have to. Who am I kidding? I'll have to make it myself or I'll never be satisfied. At least I could fork it, or I suppose. It just doesn't exist right now because no one cares about the terminal anymore. Sad. Too many lowbrow graphics interfaces. Overwhelming the minority interested weed the terminal. Shots fired. I don't care. All right, I'll move on. I was sort of tongue-in-cheek, in case you're wondering, if you're a graphics user. So, how's it going, NitroFlap? So here we have this definition, and the prefix and packages. A number of things I've been adding to it as I've been going. This is what triggered me to add more to the definitions table, mostly because everything in this expression should be able to be representable as code, so we can do all the parsing and everything. How's it going, Peter? I do have to say though that on the expression thing, I'm wondering if this is the proper name, because this is more than the expression. This is it's an entire grammar really. But I named it expression because I wanted to be able to do it in real time. So PEGN.expression. But the truth is, if you get really into it, the truth is that a grammar is an expression. I mean, in some sense, it's a it's a higher level scope of an expression. So yeah. Let me think about that for a second. But this is, you see this here? This is I even define an expression to be the stuff on the right hand side, as opposed to the entire thing. And I mean, I have to be careful because I can't name it grammar because, PEGN.grammar, right? That's probably the right name for this, to tell you the truth, because this does not have to be the name grammar. This could be this. It could be PEGN, right? It could be, in my case, it is the word grammar, so I have kind of a dual meaning. So what I'm considering is changing this to the word grammar, so that then I could then render it. Since I am going about the business of defining the definitions table, it seems like that would be the right thing to do. Particularly because the grammar is composed of what? You got meta copyright license, all this stuff. Well, where's it going to go? When I parse it, where's it going to go? I need to have some place. I need to have a structure, some kind of build-up to contain it. And the definitions table is good, but yeah. So I think I've talked myself into doing more than just a lookups table. Actually, creating a proper struct here. That's going to take a little bit more work, obviously. This was expression up to now. And that will actually free up the word expression to be used to represent just this stuff on the right-hand side, right, which is what it is. So where do we have a definition? So these are different definitions. Definitions are all composed of identifiers, spaces, and expressions on the right, whether it be a class expression, a regular expression, or just a token. And the reason I have the distinction, and now I've actually completely convinced myself now to change the name to grammar here, because I want to be able to use all of this stuff in real time. So I want to be able to, like a regex, I want to be able to write all that stuff out and say PEGN dot, compile or match, and then just pass in the right hand side without any notion of a definition, and say, hey, yeah, I want you to evaluate and see if this thing matches or not. So this is misnamed. It really is. This really shouldn't be an expression. An expression is sort of a mini grammar, but it's definitely not a grammar by any sense. So yeah. Another reason for that is because if we look at the definitions table, actually we have that up already. No, we don't. Do we? Let me chop this one in half. So if we have the definitions table, here's again. This is our sample. Let me see if I can find one. These are like all of our running numbers. We did this generation already. So if we have a definitions table, come on, where are you? Let's get a short one here. So here's a definition. We have a definition struct, and this PEGN here is going to need to be interpreted into an expression. In fact, this is the expression. What PEGN is. So now I'm asking now. Go ahead and go to PEGN.dev, and that'll tell you all about it. PEGN.dev. So I actually think I've misnamed this thing, and this has been a really enlightening morning so far. I don't think that I should put PEGN here. I think this should be the EXPR, because that's what it is. This is the expression portion of the definition, and so I'm really happy that something so quick could come out of this. And this is why I'm taking my time, just in case anybody's wondering why it's taking so long, because these are really important architectural decisions, design decisions that are going to affect potentially, millions of lines of code someday. And if not, hundreds of lines of just my code if nobody else wants to use it. So something of this scale that's going to have so much built on top of it. I want to get it right. So it's going to take me a little bit longer. This is my second iteration, of course, on the entire thing. I already wrote one that factors it first. It's exactly like Bison Flex or LexYac or it is. I probably should refer to Lexignac in my page. It's more akin to PEG combined with ABNF and EBNF, and Antler, that kind of stuff. But it's a totally different take on it. And anyway, so I've just made the command decision to change this definition property to be expr instead of PEGN, which is more consistent with what it is. That is an expression. And then I can reserve the name of expression over here to be an actual expression as opposed to what it was. That means this file is going to have to change. This is the expressions file. And I do already have a definition file, but I frankly, I need something bigger than that. Hi, Wally Ball Boy. This is Golang. So yeah, this is Golang. This is PEGN being written in Golang. So then we can take on the we need a grammar file is what we need, and a lot of it's going to come from the expression format that I have right now, and I've been kind of hinting around this thing, this whole load too. That's all going to go. Expression, match string, and match reader. Those all stay. Parse definitely stays. The generate is definitely going to come over too. So I'm going to go ahead and just copy it over. Oh God, no! Please don't even mention C++ in my presence. I will never willingly use C++. It's a disastrously bad language that should never have existed. And so let's copy. Use Scratch for this. Ha ha he he ha ha. So why don't you use Python? It's a better language. You guys are funny. You guys are so funny. Have fun with that. Yeah, isn't it great that we can all have different opinions on stuff and use what we want? Me personally, I'll stick with the people that invented C, who then later invented Go. By the way, they also invented Unicode, and they wrote Unix. So that's the people I'm going to stick with. I'm not going to stick with the disastrously bad object-oriented programming approach. Dude, if you're still stuck in the 90s and have not come out and figured out why object-oriented programming is bad, you need to do some research. It's been roundly dismissed by everybody, including the original creators of object-oriented programming. Have fun with that, Mr. Python, you script kitty. Python script kitties, unite. Oh, you guys are so funny. I can say that because I coded in Python for many, many, many years, more than 10 years. Go is OP-ish. It takes the best parts of object-oriented programming, class-based object-oriented programming. It is also functional. It can be both. It's a hybrid. Unlike C++. You want a hybrid language these days. The end. But it doesn't have normal OP. You don't even know what normal OP is. I'm not even going to talk to you about object-oriented programming until you at least watch Jim Copling's object-oriented programming video. Then you realize that class-based object-oriented, you can't even code object-oriented programming in Java or C++. It's impossible. But you don't know what it is because you're just like everybody else. Including me until 2 years ago. So I was very, very diseased. I was an object-oriented programmer. I was a diseased object-oriented programmer, just like so many others. Brian Cantrell calls it the dark times of the 90s. It was a dark time to be alive. Yeah, so go similar to Swift. I'm going to let you look on your own. I'm going to get back to programming here. Fun conversations, though. Please know that I don't dislike you as a person. Okay, I'm targeting the technologies, and you guys are bringing up tech, and so therefore I feel like I can attack bad tech, and C++ is seriously bad tech. Some of the worst tech ever invented, ever. Okay, yeah, just it's like hashtag fight me, unlike other things that we could like throw rocks at each other for. All right, so the next thing I want to do here is, so I'm going to actually copy the expression over to something called the definition. No, we'll call it a grammar. Grammar.go. Let's do that. The only place C++ kind of makes sense is in a seriously object-driven environment like gaming. And you see people that are abandoning Rust after having moved from C++ to Rust. There's one story of a shop announcing they were going to do everything in Rust to get rid of C++ for their game development, and then they abandoned Rust and went back to C++. Just because a language it might not like a language doesn't mean it's not the dominant language for a given industry, and that's pretty much the case for gaming, of course. Gaming's all about the C++. Yeah, that makes good sense, right? Class-based object-oriented programming. Let's make sure to say that. Yeah, there are use cases. There are cases that are more heavily object-oriented, and then there are cases but there's never ever a case for single inheritance. Can we just agree on that? Can we just agree to use interfaces that inheritance was the worst thing to come out? I wanted a banana, I got the jungle. I mean, that's the, yeah. Well, yeah. All right. So you should be using interfaces. Which Pop OS? Let's see here. I got some stuff here I'm going to have to focus on, but I got implicit environment to carry around with them. Yes, Peter. Well said. Peter's being all objective and awesome. Want a banana? Yes. Joe Armstrong. Pop OS. Oh, protocol program. No, I haven't heard of it. I tend to be domain driven. So best tool for the job. I like imperative. I don't like purely functional. Anyway. Best tool for the job really is what it is, right? I think that's what it comes up. I mean, look, I love structs. The thing I love about Go is it has just enough object-oriented programming. So, for example, look at this right here. This is a method, right? So you make a struct, and then you just hang a method off of it, and you give it a receiver, and you say, hey, I am a grammar, right? So yeah, you can do that. Out of hate for allowing backgrounders to be bad. I completely agree, Gavin. I really do not like inheritance. Yes, it's insane. Yeah, so I agree with that. Let's see here. So grammar.ast, g.ast, that works better for me. I'm just tweaking stuff. I'm gonna have lots of errors for a while here. I'm gonna go ahead and close this down. I don't need that window anymore, so I can look at all these errors. Definitions: AST grammar. Grammar AST is a node tree. The definitions lookup table. And that's all good. And then we have prefixes for the grammar, yes, and like the version and all that. So this is exactly what I needed. I don't know why I didn't do this earlier. Because you only learn as you go, you know. I'm going to keep all of this here. This is walking the node tree. I can't. You have to present a case where we need it. Is everything a value type in Go? No. There's primitives, and go do TourOfGo if you know how to code already. I'm not being mean. If you don't know how to code, don't do it because it's too esoteric and assumes some C knowledge and stuff. Yeah, TourOfGo. I'm gonna do a stream of this. I'm gonna go through TourOfGo all by myself, and just do it. I don't know when I'm gonna do it. Tomorrow's the weekend. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna try that. I'm gonna finish the TourOfGo first myself. I've done it many years ago, but I need to go do it again and take people through it since it's the only resource that they suggest. It's not even particular for beginners. I really want to write a book about Go for beginners. I talked to somebody about it actually who has published a book recently. So that might happen. I think Go could be a good first language these days. And I'm not the only one. There's lots of other people that agree. We talked about that at length a couple streams ago. Not to mention all the Golang jobs. Oh my God. It's like exploding, people. The number of Golang jobs. I mean, you got to understand, I started coding Go in 2014, And back then, there was a few jobs, and Forbes said Go and Scala were the two languages that were, let's see, the most paid languages you've most probably never heard of. They call them that. And to date, it's still, the average job in Golang is like 130, 150. So, yeah, it's just exploding. Everybody's kind of woken up and go, oh, hey, we need to use microservices using gRPC and GraphQL. This is what I'm going to do next. I want to do that on the stream too. Yeah, can't wait to do it. Anyway, lots of work there. So if you want to, you were asking me about primitives and stuff. The Tour of Go gives you really, really succinct introduction to all of its primitives and its structure. And it's kind of academically written, so it sucks if you're a beginner. It also can't be done on anything but a web browser that has JavaScript, which I kind of don't like, but oh well. But yeah, if that would answer your question. Oh yeah, totally. You need to go quickie. Yeah, that's exactly what that is. You'll love Tour then. Wally boy, go through it. It's perfectly designed for that. Also, Go was primarily designed to replace Python. Above all the other languages, it was designed to replace Python and C++ above all the others. Some C and Java. But those are the ones. Python, Java. Those are the first two languages, and then some of the C and C++ at Google. That's why it was created. Bad things about Golang and GC. Nah, it's not bad. GC is not bad. GC is good. Every other scripted language has GC. Why is GC bad? Tell me why. Because it slows your program down while you're shooting a railgun and you can't get your hit because it decided to collect memory garbage during the middle of your railgun shot. Absolutely. But that's that. If you're using GC language for high-end performance programming, you're doing the wrong thing. You're just parroting what you read in the Discord blog at this point. Just admit it. Yeah. Serverless blockchain startup, DevOps, agile software engineer. Yes, nice. Serverless blockchain startup in Python, more or less. All right. Cool story, bro. Okay. Yeah, have fun with that. Why are you going in my bathroom? Hey. My wife just used my bathroom for some reason instead of her own bathroom. It's kind of weird we have our own bathrooms now. In this apartment place. I must have something in there she needs. I don't know what. I got to focus here. She's trying to tell something. I don't know if she is. Tomorrow's cleaning day for me. There's nothing bad in there. I wonder if she's okay. There's no oh wait, maybe my stepson's in the other bathroom. That would be a good explanation. Oh yeah. Yeah, that's definitely a possibility. Just curious, is Otto in the other one?
Yeah.
The stream and I are just completely baffled. She goes, maybe she wants you to take a shower with him. I'm like, she laughs out loud. Bye. She got shit to do, man. She's got that determined look on her face. We always do it in the morning. We get our coffee and then we're like, I'm gonna take on the world. That whole thing going in your veins. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying, right? You get all determined to save the world and make a difference and produce art. She's an artist. Generate stays in here. So we're gonna change this one. Grandma. This all works. I wrote this yesterday. Oh, these are so fun. Very fun. You know what? Now those are constants. We don't want to put constants under a map. It'll be too slow to look up. Node. X dot prefix. Nope. G dot prefix. Okay. Manual allocation. Right. No, you can't actually turn GC off. But you don't know that because you don't know Go. That's okay. You can turn GC off and go, nobody knows this. Yep. And we're like, oh, but it has forced GC. No, you can actually tune it down if you won't want it. But you have to tune it down, and most of the time you wouldn't want to do that. Yep. I'll trade that. I'll trade a little bit of discomfort than having somebody tell me that I can't use a simpler syntax any day. Any day. I mean, if you don't want garbage collection, then use, something else. I think Erlang doesn't have any, use Rust if you really want. If you can stand its syntax. I can't. I think the worst syntax I've ever seen in a language in history, except for maybe esoteric languages. Yeah, dude, yeah. You can look, I just was on that section in Tourigo. So slices, for example, right? Slices are an abstraction layer on top of arrays. And arrays have both a length and a capacity that you can manage by hand. So this is just one. It's not garbage collection, I know, but these are some of the things that, frankly, I didn't understand capacity as well until I went through the tour again. First time I went through the tour, I was coming from Python and JavaScript and Java and C, and so I didn't have as good a handle on it. But now that I understand how slices are on top of it, it's just really good to go, particularly if you're a programmer. If you're already a programmer, Tourigo's awesome. And it's really clear that people who made Go wrote all of their stuff to programmers. They were particularly trying to attract C programmers. And so that's the biggest, of course, Ken Thompson, who's one of the people on this project, was really instrumental in getting C to be made because, that C was created to write Unix. You know that, right? So Unix, the first version of Unix was written in assembly, and then they created C. Ken Thompson kind of guided that. He didn't do it. Richie and the guys did. But and then they came back and I might have that story a little bit wrong, but then they came back and they made Unix over again with C. And since then, C has become the most important language on planet Earth. If you want to learn a good language to go with Go and Python or something like that, learn C. Learn C properly. Yeah. And I really want to get like wicked good at C, like Mac good, like MacGyver good. I'm good with C, but not. It's going to be so scary. I cannot wait to do that on stream. Have you guys laugh your ass off at me? Because Go wasn't around, dumbass. That's a funny joke, though. It just doesn't fly with me. C wasn't around. You're not following. The only language at the time was Fortran COBOL and assembly. So, as far as I know, so they had to make a language. It's funny because they describe C as a quote high-level language. I kid you not. They call C a high-level language in a video that we watched together. It's a really funny video, by the way. If you go back and watch that the Unix operating system video where I did kind of a Mystery Science 3000, there's some unhealthy imposter syndrome. Oh, for me? Oh, I've got lots of imposter syndrome. What are you talking about? Yes, this is true. You're talking about my C. Yeah, I do. I've got imposter syndrome with C. I won't lie. But I don't write it all the time. I wrote some pretty kick-ass code for IBM in C, but it was literally kick-ass code. It was code to destroy a computer as fast as possible. I was actually paid to write that. And then because they were supposed to write throttling code to throttle my monster, so I was literally paid to write the worst possible C code. Put that on your resume. Oh. Yeah, it was funny. Where am I? Okay, created this, generating. I don't need you anymore. I'm going to close you down for a second. I need more space. All right, so this is all good. And now I can clean up my expression to be an actual expression. What is that one? What's this GitHub? Let's see. Repository has been archived. Memory management module. For MMM. Any manual memory management for a reason. It's been talked about numerous times on GoNet's mailing list, which everybody should follow, by the way. I should probably bookmark that. I used to be a member, but it was too verbose. I had to turn it down. This is so much fun. There's great people on this list, by the way. If you want to have, if you want to be kind of a fly on the wall of some really, really amazing conversations, it's so good. This is the kind of thing you want to follow. Yeah, anyway. I see that there is fat free tree. Yeah. Go is getting old. It actually is. That's funny. It's getting mature, which is really good. It's fantastic news. I think an expression is going to actually have to have a grammar in it. That's really what I think we need here. And it sort of has... No, we don't want that. Let's say an AST. I guess we can have an AST still. We don't need a definitions table for sure. Don't need a prefix or a package. The expression can have its own AST. That makes sense. Let's do that. Loading an expression. We don't want load. We want to load a grammar. Oh, God. Why did you have to bring him into this chat? Mr. Mars. Match can stay. Parse can stay. Yeah. This stuff all needs to stay big time. So, I'm trying to decide whether I want to do it as an expression or not. Probably go ahead and do that. Yep. Parse and generate. Generate, I already moved, so you guys can all go away. Yeah, I always felt like that stuff didn't kind of belong in there. So we've got our place for expression all carved out for when we're going to do real-time stuff. But now we're not in trouble. I'm going to change the definition to EXPR. I refuse to write out expression. Sorry. The problem is you know what? I probably should make this an expression, a pointer to an expression. That's probably the way to do this best. Mars God. C# and Golang. Tesla careers. Oh, I know. There's lots, dude. Elon uses Golang. NASA uses Node. That was the biggest laugh. It's like, okay, if you say so. If you say so. I'm kind of thinking I should embed an expression in here instead of have a pointer to one. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I definitely should. This is definitely an embed situation. So there you go. You guys ever done an embed? There's your inheritance. This is the closest thing you ever get to inheritance in Go, so pay attention. I have embedded an expression struct inside of a definition struct just by including it like that. And what it gets is it automatically gets all of the methods and structs and fields from the embed. And that means so it's going to get an AST for the expression that's automatically going to go into it. Now that's a problem because it's not a problem, but it's a problem because I'd have to identify. You know what? I'm going to change this to XPR, and someone's going to yell at me for that, and I don't care. So there, because I want to be able to embed it. If I don't do that, I can't embed it. I've just used pyrob. Yeah, you could be done and it would suck and not have any type checking and probably be full of errors and be completely non-portable because you'd have to bundle it in a fucking Python virtual environment. Such a stupid language. Such a stupid language. I am rude. I don't deny it. But I'm rude against the language, not against you. If you take offense, that's because you somehow have become a sectarian and you associate your identity with a seriously shitty technology. And that's your problem, not mine. All right, so I didn't say liberal, I said sectarian. They're different. Go look it up. Sectarians are not liberals. You have reactionary sectarians and you have neoliberal sectarians. They're both dogmatic assholes. Go read Pedagogy of the Press from Paulo Freire, which I'm reading right now. That's why it's on my mind. It's really amazing, man. I'm probably going to do a video just about that. It talks about the, it talks about how conservatism and liberalism can both be sectarian. And it's just absolutely fascinating. So, unfortunately, the liberal sectarians are least likely to identify themselves as sectarians because they're doing it in the name of progress, even though they're more dogmatic than those who are trying to preserve the original ways and, the reactionary conservative sectarians. They're both sectarians. All right. What are you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about, dude. Holy shit. Is that the Christmas version of shit? I had to. I'm sorry. I had to. I just could not let that one go. Could not let that go. I probably would have typed it myself, but it was just so awesome. A jolly holly shitmas. Look, I am not offended. I am not trying to replace Christ with shit. Please do not say that. I was having fun. I was making a joke. Don't freak the fuck out. There. It's after 7 minutes. I think I can say fuck now. In case you're wondering. Apparently, the YouTube algorithm, somebody told me, after 7 minutes, you can say swear words more because but it'll demonetize you if it's like. Yeah, I know. I think I need more coffee. Give me a second, guys. I need to take a break. I'm starting to get really random. Ugh. Legs out of Indian style. You can't say Indian style. It's lotus, half lotus. Legs out of half lotus. I'm taking a stretch so my blood works. My body can operate. It's too early. When I come back, I'm going to finish the grammar and the expression stuff. I'll be right back. Muting. Am I back on? Check 1, 2. Yep. All right. How about that Trump guy? Yeah, we're going to talk about him. It doesn't matter. Irrelevant. Not contributing anything to society. Yep. Okay. You're just a troll and now, Wallaby. You need to not bring up Trump on my stream. I'm going to ask you nicely, okay? Thank you. I mean, I'm not against politics, but I would rather not talk about that today. I made earlier references to styles and the head. Styles of Sienna returns to 404. Yeah, sorry about that. I have to go fix the whole thing. No, that 404 is supposed to be there on purpose. Yeah, I know it slows down the page, but it's funny you say that, Peter, because that's there by default. I did that by default. It was a lazy man's way of like having a style sheet override the other styles. Because I didn't write Pandoc has some things you can do in it, and so it's like one of the many trigger points I've had with my current Pandoc based static site builder script that has led me to do this the KN tool to build other things, and then it led me to like reassess what I want to do Pandoc templates, and because templates have a certain amount of intelligence in them, and I was like, well, I could be using Golang templates like Hugo does if I build it in Go, and then I was like, well, I can't do that because I have to shell out or do a subprocess to run Pandoc, and then I'm stuck with whatever Pandoc decides to be the template syntax, when instead I could use the really wicked awesome Golang syntax for templates, which destroys Pandocs. And I was like, well, if I'm going to do that, I might as well at least write a markdown parser in Go, because then I wouldn't have to do the thing. And then I was trying to figure out ways to get the Pandoc Haskell library to run over. What is it? FTL? No, that's not it. It's some other thing where you can embed it. And I was like, you know what? I just need to make my own parser. And then I was like, okay, I need to make an easy markdown parser. But in order to make a markdown parser, I need to specify the syntax. And EBNF and EBF don't do it. And by the way, I need to do code generation. So here I am making PEGN. So I know that's a roundabout way of saying it, but that little bug you found is one of the many things that has triggered me to make PEGN. Because directly it led to this this need just being really, really pronounced, and so that's what's going on. But yeah, I plan on improving all of that stuff. My sites right now are ridiculously bad. They don't have any of the view components that I used to have in them for automated searching. They're not progressive web apps right now. All of that stuff I've done already, like 2 years ago, and had working, and then I started ripping it out. Because I ported a lot of the best parts of ViewPress over into what I was doing, and then it kind of just kept dovetailing, and it's become me working on all these little projects that kind of come together to create this bigger project, which ultimately will be the Knowledge Net, or these days I'm calling it Mimir, who's the Norse god of knowledge. So this is all related. That's some damn good coffee, people. Oh, sometimes just a good pot of coffee can make all the difference. And particularly for a former Mormon who couldn't drink coffee most of his life. All right, I'm going to change this to EXPR now. And so anytime we have an expression, we're going to change that. Expression. Where do I have them? I know I have some more in here. Where are they? Not in there. Expression. Let's go change them here. Oh man, it must be in defs. Okay, defs dot expression. Those are all good. Those all need to be there. Unknown field PEGN. Defs dot go find the PEGN. PEGN is not a thing anymore. So this is yes, of course I did. Why would you ask such a thing? Expression can then be And I think I'm going to still have to do this, though. I don't know. Let's see. So actually, I need to add some stuff onto the expression. So the expression has the expression string. We'll call that the PEGN. So that's the PEGN string. And we will assign that to our thing. To be informed and vote for what you believe in. That's something I was aware of, but thanks for the reminder. Yeah, my favorite part of the debate was when, at one point, one of the candidates said that there are 3 categories for all immigrants into the United States: intelligent murderers and rapists, and stupid people who are nice, who show up for their immigration court. And he didn't even realize he did it. He categorized every single immigrant as one of those 3 groups. I was thinking, man, you just destroyed yourself. He didn't even realize he did it. It says, I'm sorry to have to say it. I'm sorry to have to say it, but if you show up for your immigration court, in this catch and release stuff, it's just because you have a low IQ and you don't know better. Meanwhile, murderers and rapists are running around free and they don't come back to their thing. He literally said those words. That is not political. That is a reporting of the facts of the debate. If you're going to vote for that asshole, that's up to you, but my God. It is absolutely 1,000 kajillion% not true. Name one documentary you've watched about immigration, from the left or the right side. His statement about the cages being built under Obama is totally true. The statement about the deportation under Obama being more than now is true. The statement about the parents not being separated from their children is factually incorrect. You can watch it happening. There's video of it happening. Yeah, here we go. So, you can't. Here's the biggest takeaway from this. I'm going to read it to you since you guys brought it up. You guys are forcing me to do this. I didn't want to do this. Let me tell you why you can't have a conversation with a sectarian. I'm going to read it to you from Paulo Freire's words. So here we go. This is why I don't want to talk about it on the stream, because no matter what I say, you'll still believe in angels. No matter what. There's no way I can ever convince you otherwise. Because you're totally filled with sectarianism, and you just can't move away from it. So, all right. Okay. So sectarianism fed by fanaticism is always castrating. Radicalization nourished by a critical spirit is always creative. By radical, he doesn't mean like go out and destroy things. That's a sectarian. Sectarianism mythicizes and thereby alienates. Radicalization criticizes and thereby liberates. Radicalization involves increasing commitment to the position one has chosen and thus ever greater engagement in the effort of to transform concrete objective reality. Conversely, sectarianism, because it is mythicizing and irrational, turns reality into a false and therefore unchangeable reality. Sectarianism in any quarter is an obstacle to the emancipation of mankind, which, this Freire comes from a generation where mankind's okay to say. The rightist version thereof does not always, unfortunately, call forth its supernatural counterpart. Radicalization of the revolutionary. Not infrequently, revolutionaries themselves become reactionary by falling into sectarianism in the process of responding to the sectarianism of the right. So both sides get radicalized. This possibility, however, should not lead to the radical to become a docile pawn of the elites engaged in a process of liberation. He or she cannot remain passive in the face of the oppressor's violence. So here we go. I'm jumping forward here. The right sectarian differs from his or her leftist sectarian counterpart in that the former attempts to domesticate the present so that he or she hopes the future will reproduce this domesticated present, while the latter considers the future pre-established. So a reactionary conservative sectarian wants everything to be the same, and the liberal sectarian wants, assumes that thing is already set in stone and the future is going to be a particular way, and so we might as well just all forget everything. A kind of inevitable fate, fortune, or destiny. For the rightist sectarian, today, linked to the past, is something given and immutable. For the leftist sectarian, tomorrow is decreed beforehand, is inexorably preordained. The rightist and the leftists are both reactionary because, starting from their respective false points of view of history, both develop forms of action that negate freedom. The fact that one person imagines a, quote, well-behaved present and the other a predetermined future does not mean that they therefore fold their arms and become spectators. The former expecting that the present will continue, the latter waiting for the already, quote, known future to come. On the contrary, closing themselves into, quote, circles of certainty, and that's what I'm seeing you at right now, from which they cannot escape. These individuals, quote, make their own truth. It is not the truth of men and women who struggle to build a future running the risks involved in this very construction, nor is it the truth of men and women who fight side by side and learn together how to build this future, which is not something given to be received by people, but is rather something to be created by them. Both types of sectarian, treating history in an equally proprietary fashion, end up without the people, which is another way of being against them. Whereas the rightist sectarian, closing himself in, quote, his truth, does no more than fulfill a natural role. The leftist who becomes sectarian and rigidly negates his or her very nature. Each, however, has, as he revolves about, quote, his truth, feels threatened if the truth is questioned. Thus, each considers anything that is, quote, not his truth a lie. As a journalist, Marcio Alves once told me, quote, they both suffer from an absence of doubt. The radical, committed to human liberation, in this case, he uses the radical to refer to somebody who's refusing to accept to become sectarian in either way. The radical committed to human liberation does not become the prisoner of a, quote, circle of certainty within which reality is also imprisoned. On the contrary, the more radical the person is, the more fully he or she enters into that reality, so that, knowing it better, he or she can better transform it. That's what I want to be. This individual is not afraid to confront, to listen, to see the world unveiled. This person is not afraid to meet the people or to enter into dialogue with them. This person does not consider himself or herself the proprietor of history or of all people, or the liberator of the press. He or she does commit himself or herself within history to fight at their side. The pedagogy of the oppressed, the introductory outlines of which are presented in the following pages, is the task of radicals. He doesn't mean, people, his definition of radical just means that you don't buy into the system. It cannot be carried out by sectarians. I will satisfy if among the readers of this work there are those sufficiently critical to correct mistakes and misunderstanding, blah, blah, blah. So I'm going to say it again. So as this journalist says, they both suffer from an absence of doubt. So when we look at our political candidates, we have to ask ourselves, if you ask me, which one of them is the more, quote, radical, using the Freirean definition, which means somebody who's willing to not accept the status quo and work with both sides to work towards something. Somebody who is willing to have strong beliefs, but to change those beliefs based on new information. A sectarian is somebody who dogmatically holds on to either the past or a predetermined future. And I don't see that in one of the candidates less than the other one. One of our candidates, they both suck. Look, I'm not going to say they don't. But one of our candidates is at least willing to change and progress and talk and throw out things that don't work. The other candidate overwhelmingly demonstrates an inability to connect, holding on to nothing more. He's not even holding on to reactionary sectarian values. He's holding on to whatever is going to make him better. It's the worst possible president we could ever have. I think you're talking about sectarianism, not radicalism. Don't use the word radical, please. I prefer to keep the word radical a non-pejorative word. Radical just means that you boil the water. You don't It doesn't mean you're violent. It just means that you don't accept the way things are. No, I used sectarianism, but whatever. So the book, I'm not going to argue about, words. The book is from Paulo Freire, Pedagogy of the Oppressed, if you care. This is a book that's been banned in several countries, dictatorial countries, because it's well known for taking an oppressed people and helping them understand why they're oppressed. It also talks completely and totally about the nature of oppression. Just talking about it makes me not want to do that, because he came from it. Say it again. It's called Pedagogy of the Oppressed. Pedagogy of the Oppressed. Pedagogy is a method of obtaining knowledge, method of learning. Anyway, that's all that's the only political thing I'm going to say in here. I appreciate you guys not going further on this. The reason I quoted all of that is because the main reason I quoted this is because of this one line which says it all. If you ask me, it says it all. It's the reason you can't engage in dialogue. Once you've identified somebody as sectarian, you just need to move away. Because if they're sectarian, you're never going to be able to convince them of anything. And so any conversation is just going to escalate into violence or some other thing. Once you identify as somebody as fully and totally being diseased with sectarianism, it's not worth engaging. And I struggle with that all the time. My Twitter feed is completely filled with me struggling to know when to disengage with somebody. If somebody is truly trying to come to some agreement and discuss a thing, that's a different thing, even if we have radically different views. If someone is sectarian and they're so dogmatic that they won't move, how do I prove? I don't know. How do I prove I'm not sectarian? Because I'm willing to change my views. And I've proven that over and over again. So that's why. The question is, is anybody ever sure that you're not sectarian? You should be constantly asking yourself, am I behaving as a sectarian right now? And that includes me. I'm not saying that I'm immune from any of it. Why would naming, that's like saying I'm not racist because I have a black friend. I'm not engaging in that level of idiocy. I'm sorry. That's like, serious. Yeah. That's like, see, here's the main reason I read this. Whereas the rightist sectarian closes himself off in, quote, his truth, does no more than fulfill a natural role. The leftist who becomes a certain sectarian origin negates his or her very nature. Each, however, as he revolves around his truth, quote, feels threatened in that truth if that truth is questioned. Thus, each considers anything that is not truth a lie. As a journalist said, they both suffer from an absence of doubt. And the difference is that I am full of doubt on everything. And if you don't believe me, watch my stream. I'm constantly questioning my own decisions, probably to a fault. And I think I've demonstrated that. And if I can always do better. I can always do better. But yep. We did get pretty political. Wally Boy just came in blazing with politics. So I'm at least going to say that. Do I seem quite sure? Look, I think we all have a responsibility to look at the facts, and we can't carry on a political conversation in this little chat box here, and have it be anywhere near fair. First of all, I have a microphone, so I would destroy you. If I wanted to, I could go in and list all of the things that are objectively verifiable, and I could just ream you a new one, and I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. I want to have an actual dialogue, which is why I just don't want to talk about it. The main point I was trying to make, and this is why I got on this tirade, I know it's not a competition, but I'm not seeing it as a competition. What I'm seeing is you not responding to my simple request to stop talking about this stuff, and my telling everybody else in the chat, don't engage with the sectarians when they start to show their heads, because no matter what, they will not change their way of thinking. It's impossible. They won't. They'll continue to double down, and then they'll get personal. It's exactly what happens every time. Every time you encounter a sectarian, first they say, "Oh yeah, you just don't want to talk to me because you know I'm right," and then they start talking to you. Then they say, "Well, you know I'm right because you're being stupid and you're deluding yourself." As soon as they start to go on the attack, That's how you know you've got a sectarian. And so when you have one walk into the chat and say, Python's the best language, what do you think of Trump? He obviously kicked ass last night. That is the definition of a sectarian. Do not be a sectarian. At least don't do it in my room. If you want to do it, go do it someplace else. All right. So, and I mean, I asked politely not that we not talk about it. All right. Let's move on. Oh. All right. Okay. And the moral of the story is for everyone is just don't engage. Just don't engage unless you know that you've got, you know, a respectful forum where you can actually engage. And I suck at it. I'm the first to admit that I need to do this. This is part of myself talking to me. Mutually assured destruction. What a mutually assured seduction. Oh, mutually assured seduction. I see what you did there. Because we're not afraid to talk about it. It's not about fear, my friend. That's not about fear. This is about wanting to focus and get something done. That's what it's about. I am not uncomfortable. I'm a little pissed off because you brought politics into my channel, and I feel that that's a just ire, as Paul Freire would call it. You know, and that for some reason you don't see anything wrong with that. You think you're entitled to do that. That pisses me off. I'll tell you straight up. Yeah. And I asked you nicely, and then you kept going. Look, I'm not afraid of politics at the right time. Obviously, I talk about it all the time. But when you come in guns blazing with the political you know, the fact that I haven't banned you already just proves that I'm trying to be a patient person. Wally boy, you know that, right? As a human being, I'm there with you, man. I just don't want to get into that because it's just not a healthy conversation. It's not going to go well. It's not that I don't want to have a conversation. It's that I don't think the conversation is going to go well. And yeah, I would rather not. And I say Python is great. I didn't call you an idiot. That's not what I did. God, you just love manufacturing your own reality. I did not say you were an idiot. I said you could do that if you wanted to. I did not call you an idiot. I even attacked Python, not you. You're the one who interprets the personal attack. You can go get the clip. Go get the clip. Please, clip it. You got to make sure you clip everything after that talks about attacking technology that's bad, not the people that use the bad technology. This is the problem, and you are exemplifying sectarianism right now. You can't let it go. Just move on. And I'm trying to be more patient than I should be. I should have just banned you and moved on, but I don't want to do that. Okay, so, all right. Oh, what are we doing? Cannot use 0 through 9. Okay, so we've got an expression. This needs to be an expression, but the problem is it's inside of here, so I think I'm going to have to do one of these instead. And we're going to have to say that this is the PEGN part of the expression. And this should work. If everything goes well, this should work. Hey, it worked. All right. Can't use O type string as type expression in field value. Let's see. Doesn't affect you. Okay. Well, then why don't you just leave, my friend? I mean, if you're not here to talk about Go programming, then why are you here? This is just because he called Python bad, yeah. So, all right. Let's try it this way. See if this one works. He came in and said, "Why are you doing this in Go? Python is the best language ever, without a kappa or anything else." And I was like, you know, and I love your chats too. I love you. I like your participation. Just, you know. All right, so what do we got? Let's see if we can do this. Let's see. We've got a PEGN 0 through 7 What is going on there? Why is it giving me a problem? Oh, it's on 34. It's got the problem. Okay, good. That is totally fine with me then. I don't care about that particular problem. So we're gonna make it an expression. But what I was trying to say is that this is what an embed looks like. So when you have an embed, what you get is this. You get an expression, and then this is in there. And then in the definition, so this is the closest thing to inheritance that you can get. All right, so we have this is, it looks like it's inherited, right? This looks like that the EXPR was inherited, and the definition is like using multiple inheritance or something. It's actually not. What this is doing is it's hey, Marian NG. So here what we have an expression EXPR that's embedded. That means it's the same as if I had just put all of that in there. And in terms of program, well, I just would rather not talk about politics right now at all. That Marianne G. Okay, Marianne G. So let's do that. So let's go back to here. All right. So we have, so this, what I was trying to say is, so this, even though it's named the same thing, I wonder if I can get away without doing that though, because it's been an embed. I want to try something here. I don't think I can do this, but I want to try it. Well, I'm not going to be able to tell whether I can do that or not until I get some. Oh wow, it was okay with it. Holy cow! All right, that's some good. That's good. So yeah, this is good. I don't do a lot of embedding, obviously, because it smacks of inheritance too much to me. Okay, so let's go back. We have a description here, a single numeral 0 through 7. What do we have to do here? That description can stay, and then we'll do that rendering. Okay, so I have to fix this one too. So how are we going to do that? So this type is a type node. These are all. So this is an expression, but now I'm going to have to make this the PEGN line. So again, what we're doing is eventually we're going to code generate all of these things. And we'll probably do that today. I should be able to get to that today, I hope. And when we do that, we're going to be grabbing all of this data from the grammar. That's what we're doing, just as a reminder. And I'm in the middle of moving what was called an expression struct into a grammar struct, because an expression is a subpart. These are all expressions. They're over here. They're a subpart of the definition, and that way I can do real-time expression validation like you do with regular expressions later. All right, so we got this here. We got that defining. I'm just doing a bunch of error remediation until I can get back to normal. Hey, Herzenplatz. Erhotzenplotz. That's such a fun name to say. Missing typing, composite literal. Defs.go, line 16. It's not a composite literal. Did I do a composite? I did do a composite. I was afraid of that. Well, all right. There. Okay. I have to have that, even though it's, I have to make one of those things. All right. So what do we got? Oh, T. Sodden's in here, huh? Actually, oh no, that's your thing. Yeah. What we got? We've got a definition here. We've got generate. I need to fix generate. Okay, defs line 53. I got one last one to fix. So again, I've made this into an embed. Because why? Because this PEGN line, this PEGN string right here, I'm eventually going to parse that, and I'm going to make an AST just for that thing. And when I do that, I'll be able to just examine the AST of an expression by walking the tree. So that's all good to go. That's coming up. So generate line 15. The expression. No, this is now an EXPR. We actually don't need. Let's see. Generate. So this is taking in a string, Actually, I was allowing it to be built from many different types. I might reassess that later. But we're going to go ahead and keep that for now. Yeah, this whole thing's gonna. This is not an expression anymore. All this stuff's gonna need to change to grammar. So, yeah, this entire generator function, I'm gonna have to turn it off temporarily since we moved away from the expression thing. So let's go with. I'm gonna change this line 24. What is that? Append definition. We have that. That's fine. Index type def. Oh, wait. Now it's not expression anymore. Now it's a G for grammar. I don't like G. I'm going to use GR for grammar. I don't know why. I just kind of... It just G's not enough for me. Grammar.ast. Grammar.js. Grammar... node type. Grammar.defs. This was another FreeBSD port. Wow. Is it big? You know, I won't lie. I feel the pull of BSD. I really do. I do. There's BSD is really. I mean, I'm an old guy, and but I have time left. I've used a little bit of BSD, but given all the crap that's going on in the Linux community, there's a lot that pulls me to the BSD side inside. Not, certainly not the fact that Apple uses it, but it's kind of big having in mind that I wrote one. Yeah, that's pretty awesome, man. What is this? Is that the guide? Am I opening that real quick? Homebrew. God damn. Why would you bring Homebrew into the mix? This repository contains implementation of DAB receiver. Is this you? You probably have to do Homebrew anyway because you're going to have BSD people using your stuff. Qt.dab. Well, there's a fork of the DAB RPI. Oh, nice. See, this is the kind of thing I envision someday where you could write in a knowledge base. This README file could then just quickly become a knowledge base. So many people write such great documentation just straight up in README files, and that documentation is kind of lost to searching and to other usage, because a lot of people who develop really great software, all they really care about is writing a README file, and that they probably shouldn't have to care about writing more. Leave the documentation to other people or whatever. But I love this. This is great. I love how you've organized it. Yeah, you got the whole brew stuff in there. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to pick on brew. Brew's fine. Brew's way better than the alternative, right? So, is he make build? Okay, yeah. Anyway, yeah, that's cool. That's cool. You got CMake in there. So let's see. We got. I have a couple things I gotta fix still. That one's done. 24. We got a leftover X in here. jar.defs. PEGN.go. PEGN.go. Okay, here we go. We have all right, so here we go. Peg compile. Undef expression. 23. What's gonna? Oh, right. That can't be that. That's all it is. Ugh. EXPR. I'll change this into an EXP. God damn it. I suck at typing sometimes. We're gonna leave root in there. We might change that eventually, but that's fine. This is really not EXPR. Actually, this compile should be a grammar instead. That's really what we want. That's what we want. Yep, that's like one of the many we're going to have to change, but because that's what we're after. We're after a grammar, and that grammar. Well, I don't know, man. This is kind of we're coming to an interesting architectural decision point. in terms of like how the people are going to use this, they can do PEGN.compile. And if we treat it like this is where this could be an expression or it could be a grammar. And yeah, I'm trying to think if I think we need to make this only deal with expressions, and not the grammar. We need something different for the grammar. So I'm going to leave all this stuff expression based, which includes this one. So this should actually be, I changed that prematurely. Again, this is designed to make it so that it's like you would do if you were doing regular expressions, which means that the only part that's going to be passed to it's this, right? So this is the equivalent of a regular expression in PEGN. All this stuff that comes after here. Less the comments, right? So that is the expression. And that's it's important that I keep it at that level so that we can do stuff like that. Now, the question I have is that do we want to have an additional set of top level functions that just parses grammars, right? So unlike regular expressions, we have kind of two use cases where sometimes you might just want to do a one-liner, and you maybe want to write it out as an expression, or we could have. Let me put this into a test case. It'll make more sense if I put it into a test case, even if I don't run the test right now. So where we have, let me fix this last problem. And okay. Pick an expression, gen test. Okay. There we go. Something was making noise there. It's annoying me. Let's see. Gen test. Do you have any others? Load is undefined. Yep, it is. And this is a real question about what we changed right here. I think this needs to be grammar, to tell you the truth. This obviously has to be grammar. So and yeah, I'm gonna change this to GR. This stuff has to be grammar. So I need to spend some time distinguishing when I want an entire grammar from when I want just an expression, and how much of that I want to support at the top in the top level functions of the package. And so that's kind of what's up. Cannot use promoted field. PEGN is a struct literal. Why not? Oh. Let's go see. Thank God for strict typing. This error I'm just having right here could not have that. It actually, do you see what it's trying to do? Look at this error message. This is kind of telling. If you're new to Go, you remember that I added, so just let me remind you guys, this is a little lesson here. So you remember I took PEGN out and I put it into an expression struct, right? So let me show you how this works, how propagation works. There is propagation. I know people, how that Go wasn't object or program. Well, it does have propagation. So this is as close as you're going to get. So here in this expression struct, I have a field called PEGN and a field called AST. And this is really significant because when it is embedded inside of the definition, the grammar, when it's embedded inside of a grammar, see here I have another AST. Okay, so this AST is not the same as the AST that comes from the embedded, definition. Sorry, here we go. So this well, actually this one, this definition probably needs an AST too. God damn it. Well, I'll put it in here and we'll deal with it later. But the point I'm trying to make is that you'll notice that the error over here says cannot use promoted field exp.pegin in struct literal. So it doesn't say field not found. It says it cannot be promoted. And that's because Go is trying to resolve through propagation the names of the embeds as a convenience. And this is a controversial topic for Go. But what it means is that when I tried in the scanner here, so if you want to understand how Go propagation works, here I am declaring a definition with a PEGN field, which is totally okay. If I had done it right, it would have been fine. But usually that's okay. But I wonder if I can. I don't think I can do this. Let me try. I don't think you can do that. Yeah, I figured. Yeah, okay. But that's effectively what it's trying to do. So it says, look, you don't have instead of saying it doesn't have a PEGN field, it says, I'm sorry, you can't use it to promote it. And that's because it's trying to say, well, look, I don't have any PEGN fields in this struct at all. Let me see if I have one in my embeds. So it goes to the expression embed and says, is there a PEGN field in the embed? And sure enough, there is. All right. Now, and the reason for that is because you can use field accessors, like the dot, and you can drop off the explicit path, and that's why it's controversial. Because the way to do, if I were to have done this, if I had done this by just, another look. There's another way to do this, by the way. Let me just morph this one for you, just deliberately. So, and the reason, this is actually a convenience, but it's also can be problematic. So, like, for example, if I did the exact same thing like this, if I said var octdig equals new PEGN.definition, that is exactly the same as this. The difference is that I personally believe, I don't know, but I believe this takes a little bit more time to do or about to do. But what you have to do is then you could assign all of the fields. It actually makes for better reading, slightly better reading of the. I prefer it. I'm not sure of the performance difference between the two, but it certainly makes it easier. But my point is that this is propagating it. Okay, so then I can do this. I can do type octdig dig.type equals PEGN.class. And what do we have here? We have ident. I'm just going to do this just for the sake of, education, I guess. Octdig. And here's where it comes. So octdig.PEGN doesn't exist, right? So it's going to try to find it. And this actually might work because it's using the accessor syntax. The description octdig dot description equals this. Hey, look, I used my mouse. Oh my god. Octdig dot scan equals this, and this. I might have to go. Whoops. I can just go get all that. So there we go. So you see how that passed? You're like, how come that passed and this one didn't? So this is a tiny little micro lesson in embed propagation. because .PEGN, there's no such thing as an octag.PEGN. It doesn't exist, right? So in the definition of definition, there is no PEGN here at all. But because expression has one, because expression has a PEGN, it's like, okay, I'm going to find it for you. And it's, by the way, this is another reason that yes, it's a little bit redundant, to write octag here, right? I get it. But it seems a lot clearer to read than this to me. And another reason to do it this way is because the propagation works. And up here it doesn't. In fact, in order for me to make this one work, as I already did in the other ones, I have to do it like this. So I have to declare that it's an expression type, and then I have to make it through. I have to do an assignment for it, right? That will work. That's totally fine. And here's the question: which one is faster? Right? I know for a fact that this stuff, this way of doing it, is all evaluated at the initialization stage of variable definition at runtime. It's the very first thing that's done by the runtime when it runs an application. The very, very, very first thing it does is the assignment. Unfortunately, it can't embed it because it's an initial value. So I found that out. I did a good hour or so research the other day about whether initial values in Go are somehow, initial default values are somehow for variables are somehow like embedded in the compiled program, so that they don't have to be initialized at runtime. They're already there when the thing starts up. And it turns out the answer is no. That any variable will undergo an initial value. Setting an initial value, and that goes for stuff that doesn't even have a value set. So in the case of strings, it's an empty string. In the case of numbers, it's a 0. In the case of anything else, it's a nil. And those are called zero values, which saves you from some of the hassles from C, where you'd have to predefine initial values yourself. So but the initialization happens. So this, by writing it this way, I guarantee that happens very first in the phase. This stuff down here doesn't happen until runtime, like way later in the runtime. So you see what I'm saying? It's like this stuff here doesn't happen. No, actually, I just answered my own problem. This stuff doesn't happen until runtime. Whereas this happens once during initialization at the beginning of the program when it runs. This happens every time it's encountered, which I suppose is not much different. I don't know. I'd have to go run the, some kind of profiler on that, and I don't know of one. I would like to try that at some point. But this, by the way, there's another place to do this in between, and that's the init function. So if you want to use this kind of assignment in package space, you can add the init. I talked about this before, but you can add an init function. So this kind of initialization, if it were in package space, would happen first, and then the next step would be everything in the init functions, and then lastly would be everything that's just actually in the functions themselves, which includes this stuff. So what I would really like to be able to prove is which of these is faster. Is this better than this, right? Which is better? Which is faster? I don't know. That's going to take a really low-level compiler person to talk about, and I don't have that knowledge right now. If anybody does know that or know who to ask about that, that's something I might want to ask from people visiting during GopherCon, because I obviously like this better. Even though it's redundant, I just love the way it reads. Not to mention the fact that the embed propagation works properly. Right. So if I were to in C or something, I'd have to do it. I'd have to do this. I'd have to do that. That will also work, right? Because that's effectively what it's doing. And the reason it's controversial is because people say, well, that's what you're doing. Well, you should not do anything implicitly. The Python mantra, right? And or the Zen of Python, and that's exactly what you're doing, right? So they would say you need to do that, but instead they say you can do this. And that's why it looks like inheritance. It smacks of inheritance. And it's also why I tend to not do embeds, because they can really confuse the hell out of you. Because you've added a whole bunch of fields unnecessarily, at least through field accessors, to your thing. And if you're not aware of what they are, you might not know that you have a conflict with some other field that's here. If like, so it smacks of inheritance and the bad parts about inheritance, about, not knowing what you're getting and what's going to override what. And it's implicit and it's, magical. And I don't like that stuff. I'd rather have it be explicit. So, but anyway, that explains what was going on there. And we have a test that is passing now. So it's back to code generation. This would be something to benchmark. I'll have to benchmark that at some point. I'm really tempted to do it right now, but I need to walk away for a second. And I'll come back. And when I come back, I'm going to be doing, so this last round, besides the political fighting, not fighting, hopefully nobody thinks it was a fight. I did get upset. I'm sorry, but, I just would rather stay on the coding tasks, today anyway. If I'm thinking about, it's tough because I'm going to start having people from YouTube and even Twitter in, and I don't necessarily want to have to change my category every time. So, because I consider myself kind of just an open live streamer. So there may be a time when I switch the topic to politics, and in which case, yeah, I think we should just be able to talk about it as best we can. If I were to ever do that, by the way, I would make sure to get other people with voices in my Discord chat who have strongly dissenting voices from mine. I don't intend to give a voice to things that are absolutely ludicrous, like the Earth is flat, or that, white people are superior to everybody else. I'm never giving a voice to that shit. But if I ever were to go into a political, an actual political stream on purpose, I would make sure to have several people involved so that it's not just me, saying whatever I want. That's for every other moment of the day. Okay. Time for me to stretch again and come back. When I come back, I'm going to be doing, we're going to be building the definitions table, but now we have a better concept of what a definition is in our domain model here. And we'll be doing that. All right. So here's some fish for a bit. I'm going to mute you.